Hey guys, Brian Schroeder here with Buyers Club. I'm with Tom Durphy here. He's an attorney. Primarily, would you say that you're primarily a real estate attorney?
Yeah, so I talk about myself as being a real estate and business
Okay,
attorney.
and business attorney.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense. So, Tom, our members of the club here, they primarily are flippers, as in buy a house, rehab, and resell it, or landlords. So can you talk to, and we got people that are brand new to people that have been doing this for 20 years. So whole spectrum. But can you talk to a little bit about maybe the top? I know there's probably a ton of different things that show up about on your plate, but what are maybe the top 3 or 4 or 5 things that you do for investors?
Sure. For beginners, I'll help them with setting up the business, forming the LLC,
Mhm.
working with their accountant to decide what's the best tax structure for them.
Okay.
I'm not a tax guy,
Okay.
so I rely on the accountants, and will recommend to people, make sure you have an accountant as part of the team,
Right.
because we want to make sure to set it up correctly.
Okay.
And then from there, if they're planning to be landlords, then helping them with good leases,
Okay.
helping them with rules for their tenants, and kind of setting up those documents.
Okay.
If they're planning on flipping, then I'll work with them on having a good purchase contract,
Mm-hmm.
one that allows them to assign the contract if they
Yep.
if they get in a situation where they're looking to do a little bit of wholesaling.
Okay.
And then for people that are more experienced, it tends to be a bit more of an advisory role,
Okay.
where difficult problems come up,
Yeah.
and I've not seen this before. Can you help me? Or if their business is growing and they have employees,
Yeah.
helping them with the business aspects of what they do. So it's probably the progression that I see the most as far as investors go.
That's interesting, and that makes sense. I hadn't really thought about that, but yeah, as a real estate investor, there's always challenges that show up, And I've been doing this for 30 years, and there's still things that I would have never thought about that before.
Right.
What do we do here?
And
So
and often the situations come up regarding closings,
yeah,
and maybe unexpected problems, or there's a problem with a boundary.
yeah,
We want to buy this house, and there's an encroachment here.
yeah,
How do we deal with this?
yeah.
And often questions are asked apart from evictions, which that's part of it. But you know, lawsuits, the question of lawsuits come up
Yeah.
a fair amount. And I tend to talk with people about, okay, we can sue, but let's talk about what the real cost of that
Yeah.
is, because for a lot of lawsuits, you can end up paying me thousands and thousands of dollars.
Yeah.
And is that the best use of your money? Is
Yeah.
there another way to solve the problem that comes up without involving the courts?
That's a interesting thing. I don't know, when you were talking there, I asked myself, I wonder how many times Tom gets a call and he basically talks them out of hiring him. Does that happen a lot?
I would say, with respect to lawsuits, 90% of the time.
Is that right?
Because I'm a lawyer, but lawsuits are a terrible way to solve a problem.
Yeah.
It's everybody's first reaction, I'm going to sue.
Yeah.
But it's not always, unless you're independently wealthy. And I've
Right.
had a couple of those clients
Yeah.
where they could afford to pay. Probably the one that I remember the most was a guy that had a number of acres, and there was 1,000 square feet in his backyard
Okay.
that somebody else said was part of their backyard.
Okay.
He spent $120,000
To get that 1,000
to
square
get
feet.
that 1,000 square feet. And so if you've got that kind of money, great.
Right.
From a lawyer's standpoint, that's good business.
Yes.
But what's good business isn't always necessarily great for the
Yeah.
client. And so I'd much rather have someone help someone come up with a solution that they can live with, maybe not completely happy with.
Yeah.
But I had a law school professor who referred to a lot of those things that come up as tuition in the school of life.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so, okay, I'm a little bit smarter, a little bit poorer for it,
Yeah.
but I'm not going to make that mistake again.
Yeah. Yeah. So can you talk just a little bit about how would it what's the best process for somebody to hire you? Do they just give you a call, and do you have, I don't know how you decide how to charge people. Is there a kind of a template for that, or
So there are a couple of ways. If it's something that I do fairly regularly, then I can do a flat fee.
like a putting together an LLC or
Right,
something like that?
exactly. Do a flat fee or, leases and
Okay.
rules and that sort of thing.
Okay.
That's something that I can do for a flat fee. There are other things like reviewing documents
Okay.
or advising on, some problem, and so I'm looking at uh, documents related to whatever the issue is. Often, what I'll have people do is email it to me.
Okay.
I'll give it a quick scan and say, I can't give you a flat fee, but what I can do is give you a range.
Yeah.
And I'll send you an engagement letter that says we'll do it for between, say, 1,000 and 2,250, and
Yeah.
it won't exceed
Yeah.
2,250. So at least you have some idea of what the maximum cost will be. And then I send statements each month to let people know this is what I've spent on your time, I've spent on your matter.
Yeah.
And then the last is for things that aren't that don't really fit into a neat box.
Yeah.
Then those are hourly.
Okay.
And so, but again, we're trying to provide statements every month so that people know
Yeah.
what's going
Awesome. Well, Tom, I think people got a good understanding of what you do. I always like to finish this, and you kind of gave us a story already, but I always like to ask people, in your line of business, you got to have some crazy stories. An unusual client or an unusual case or just something funny that happened. You got a good story for us?
So one that I'm still working my way through, and it's apropos for investors, and that is a new investor had someone approach them with a deal,
Okay.
and actually it was uh, you know 3 deals, and ended up paying a lot of money up front to a contractor,
Okay.
and the contractor has not performed. And
Oh,
so
yeah.
now they're in the situation of how do I get out of this,
Yeah.
minimize what I'm losing,
Yeah.
and be able to go forward and finish the projects. And so, it's a kind of a cautionary tale just to be aware
Yeah.
of, you know, avoiding giving contractors large sums of money up
Up
front,
front. Yeah.
because you may not get it back.
Yeah. So your client is potentially buying those properties, or your client was?
My client is dealing with the contractor that
So
hasn't
you're the
performed.
client is thinking about trying to sell the properties
Yeah, yeah,
because he doesn't. Yeah, because you're already kind of into it too much.
yeah,
Gotcha.
exactly.
That's a bummer. I hate to hear that.
Yeah, it's one of those things where if you can ask some questions or find somebody who's done what you want to do before,
Yeah.
regardless of whether it's an attorney or just somebody else, to say, this is what I'm thinking about.
Yeah.
Does it make sense? Just to try and protect yourself,
Yeah.
because you don't want to end up losing, 100,000 or more,
Yeah. Exactly.
in projects.
Yeah. Well, very good. Thanks for coming in and chatting with us today. I
Yeah.
appreciate it.
You're welcome.